Hi, welcome back. This is another episode of Between Two Teeth. We're your host. I'm Steph Ganter, and this is Bob McNeill. And we
Between two teeth,
are we really?
literally.
Oh, hey. Hey, there we go. Awesome.
So what are we talking about today?
Right, so we're going to be talking about types of income. And there is, in general, there is earnings income. That's what if you or I were to go to work. Do we work ever? Sometimes. We sometimes work, sometimes not. Sometimes we just make videos for fun. There's earnings income. So that's what we're talking about. You go to work, you earn an income. That's earnings income. Then you have something called portfolio income. That's something we're really going to delve into today.
And we're not actual financial advisors. Just like how people say, don't take this as medical advice and talk to your doctor.
Someone might think you are an advisor, but I don't think anyone's going to think I'm an advisor. But I'm glad you said it. That's fantastic.
Well, and on that point, we're not trying to sell you anything. And the problem is when you're a professional with a good income, you are a target, and insurance people and investment people, bankers, everybody wants to get their hooks in you. And that's something to certainly be mindful of.
Couldn't agree more.
You're a little off center today.
Am I off center? I think I'm actually right in the center of the shot. I think you're off center.
Well, I don't know. We'll go this way.
So to your point, people are trying to get into your pocketbooks. And that is a very good point. Always ask, if you're dealing with any kind of financial management, how are they paid? Do they get paid if you do well, or do they get paid regardless if you do well?
You sound like a robot right there.
Should I talk a little slower?
No.
And getting back to my first point, 3 types of income real quick. It's important to understand this, especially if you're a new or a beginner in trying to figure out, well, I know how to make money. How do I keep it? You have your earnings income, you've got your portfolio income, and you also have your passive income.
So here's the deal. I'm going to pause you there. If you're a new practitioner, you're probably just on earnings income. That's the only thing you're doing.
Yes.
I was talking with residents that I work with at one of the dental schools, and over lunch we're having discussions about money. And some are heavily involved in NFTs and crypto. And that's something that me, as someone who's been investing for a long time, was terrified of that for the longest time.
Watch out, here comes the blockchain.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it can have a component in a portfolio now. But then others are like, I don't know where to start. And I think that's a really good topic for today.
I love it.
I know you just did that a couple of years ago since you were a new entrant.
And I wouldn't say I was the only one. I would say my generation across.
Well, you're not the only investor.
No,
I would agree with that.
My point is that COVID-19 it gave a bump to startup portfolios, and a lot of the reason is because we're all stuck inside. So people actually started to become. Can I say the word? Day traders.
Oh yeah. So don't back away from the microphone. Try not to do that. That takes too much time. We're talking about let's make things easy.
Wait, are you saying there's a difference between active and passive investments?
Yes. And let's even get out of that stream right now. Some people are very passionate. They want to put the time in to do it. What we're talking about are people that you're just starting your career in dentistry. That's the important thing, to work on your skills there.
So I think I'm getting where you're going at this. And what we want to do is talk about, how do I open up an account through Fidelity, Vanguard?
Did you say Fidelity?
Fidelity
or Vanguard.
And the idea is, why are we doing this early?
So set it up because the time value of money.
Boom.
One thing I learned from my MBA training was, in finance, time is power, and time does wonderful things. And I want you to literally hit the pause button on this right now, go to Vanguard or Fidelity and set something up with a monthly investment in something. Now, that was kind of a joke because we want you to hear the end there. But right after this, because I will get to it someday. That doesn't happen for years and years and years down the road.
Talk to us. And this is something that I know plenty of my colleagues, they're either, it's not that they don't have the knowledge base. We're all smart people. We all went to dental school and beyond. And it's just, why are we so scared? Or
sometimes we're paralyzed by the options. And
Okay.
we want things to be perfect. We are type A individuals, and we won't start something until it's perfect. I heard a great quote on a podcast yesterday. It was the Tim Ferriss podcast. It was one of the Saturday Night Live writers, and he was quoting Lorne Michaels. And Lorne Michaels says, the show doesn't go on at 11:30 live on a Saturday night because it's ready. It goes on because it's 11:30 on a Saturday night.
Right.
You
And
will not feel ready. You set up something simple where money's taken out
totally get
each
it.
month.
Yeah, totally get that point. And when you say it's 11:30 at night, for someone trying to figure out when do I start saving for retirement, it's yesterday. It's right
Well, don't
now.
make them feel bad.
I'm
Don't
not trying to
them feel
make
bad.
anybody feel
It's
bad,
today.
but it's the
It's today.
11:30 hour, or it's the 11th hour. And if you're graduating from
It's
dental
11:29.
if you're graduating from dental school, it isn't too early to start, and you don't need a lot of money
And
to set up an account.
there's so many different funds, and pick something basic. There's some combos. I know you just
one thing about Vanguard or Fidelity is they have funds with target retirement dates, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but what it does, it's a life strategy growth fund. It helped me get in the game. It helped
at
me
least to
just
get
put
started.
something very easy, very passive.
And now look at her.
A passive
REITs
investment.
and
A
all kinds of
passive
other
investment is one of them. It's a hands-off investment by its very nature, and it's nice to go into a passive investment and not an actively traded investment, because you don't have to be a day trader to do well in this
And
game.
what I found, pick a monthly amount, maybe start small, but then get to the point, keep changing, keep ramping up your monthly contribution, and make it a little bit painful is my advice. Maybe not to start, but get to the point where you're like,
And can I say a note?
I don't know. Are you asking?
Because we're running out of time here. I also want to talk.
Oh, time.
Okay. So there are some. We mentioned Vanguard, we mentioned Fidelity. These are two. I mean, these are two companies. If I will, can I use that? Is it a company? Is
Sure.
that really what it is?
It's a management company. Sure.
A management company that they have been tried, trusted. They've been here for a long time. Now, you might also talk about things like Robinhood, Coinbase. There are so many other apps you can get on your phone that allow you to do very quick, easy investments. However, buyer beware. Some of these apps are not set up for passive long-term.
Right. And what I would say is start with something simple, like we talked about previously. It makes sense to have a portion of your investable assets going into something that could lose 100% of its value, or it could go up 500%. That's NFTs, that's crypto. Dabble in it, but don't make that your entire portfolio. One of the benefits
Can we talk about, sorry to cut you off there, Doc. Can we talk about when you're trying to invest in something, how should you ever invest in one stock?
No.
So talk to me more about this.
We don't need to swing for the fences. I had an investment manager, actually, when I was in residency, put all of one of my Roth IRA funds in one specific stock. The stock tanked and was basically worthless.
And so
that was scraping together $4,000 during residency when it was super tough to do in a Roth.
This is where using instruments such as Vanguard and Fidelity and using these passively managed index funds, which is an index is a basket of funds. It's all the it's the S&P 500.
It's literally not a basket.
When we talk about, it's not literally a basket.
We went out of focus. You got to stop.
I was like,
moving.
Man, what happened here? Yeah. So when we
talk
about
need clarity with investing, that's what it meant.
And you can get lost in the weeds here so quickly. It's okay to have. When I first got invested with Vanguard, and that was just my personal preference, I had read. I'd encourage you to read this too. White Coat Investor. If you're wanting a little bit more in-depth discussion, again, we're not paid by anyone.
We're trying to start the conversation. And to wrap it up, I think start now. Start simple, maybe with one of those target funds that you talked about. You can always switch it later as you get more involved. You research it a little bit more. The important thing is to start with something monthly that just gets the ball going.
Right. And don't worry about where the market is. Is it up or down? Just start. There is a power of time.
Yeah.
So our I think our joint message here is start passively managed index funds, check out Vanguard, check out Fidelity or something like that and get started.
And make it happen.
Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Thanks, guys. If you like what we're saying, please hit the subscribe. Please put some comments in there with suggested topics that we can talk about.
Well, this is
Between Two Teeth.
Between Two Teeth. I'm Steph. This
I'm
is
Bob.
Bobby.
Or
We'll see you
Bobby.
next time. Bye.